Hey there everybody, it's Mark Crowley back with another How to Draw video. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to draw a snowman. No, I'm just joking. It sort of looks like I'm going to be teaching a snowman, but actually I'm teaching you how to draw a chibi character. But it does indeed start with two more or less perfect circles, one sort of tucked underneath the other. See if you can kind of get that formation there. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more guidelines and then we'll get into the actual drawing. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly sort of explain about these guidelines. I'm taking the upper circle here, I'm dividing it roughly into three equal slices. I guess the center one is a little smaller, it seems to me. These other two are a little bigger. So see if you can replicate that. It's crossed with a line that's coming across here and down to around the middle of this circle, although here it's slicing off about a third of this one here. And then finally, not so important here, but this is a guideline that's going to be showing the waist of the character. This is the head up here, this is going to be the body. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this area. I'm going to be showing you how to place these facial features. Alright, so I put out on my Twitter the other day that I was going to do another chibi video and got a lot of different suggestions. One person said, how do you do one of those classic winking chibi characters? And I thought that was a great idea because it is sort of, when I think of chibi, I almost always think of that classic, one eye is winking, the other eye, or the hand is doing like a peace sign. So that's what we're doing here. And you can kind of see the reasoning of this first guideline. It helps me place this one eye and get the eye at the proper size. It's sort of quite an oval, kind of a compressed oval in this style. It's not necessarily something that everyone's going to want to do. You can, of course, as with any aspects of my drawing lesson, come up with your own way, do it the way you like. But this is just one way of doing it. So I've got the eyelash here, the iris. I got a little bit of a highlight here, and no lower eyelash at all. But I do notice that even on chibi characters, you will often get the fold of the upper eyelid. Now, while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and place one eyebrow that's coming down. It's sort of, I guess, what we would think of as the angry eyebrow. Although, of course, this character is not angry, but it'll give the character sort of a sassy look when we do the rest of it. So I'm going to come way over here to do this winking eye. It's, I would say, a touch closer to the edge of the circle than it is to that first line. And it's floating just a little bit above this lower line here. Again, this is, there's more art than science going here, and you can come up with your own variations on this. But notice that very often the winking eye is a sort of gradual curve, very often darker on this side towards the edge of the face than it is towards the middle. I'm going to get like an extra line in there, and then again I'm indicating the fold of the upper eyelid right there. And then this upper line here can help you place this other eyebrow that's kind of floating a good distance and also curving down a little bit to give you that, like I said, slightly sassy look. And I think I may want to curve this one a little more so that it echoes that same shape. As with almost all chibi drawings, there is no nose at all. We go straight to the mouth, and I'm going to have it just touching that first line, floating a little bit away from there, from that the line of the lower part of the eye. And very often this smiling, happy mouth it's not completely delineated. The lower, I find very often the lower part or one side of it is not connected. So right down here, you may find that those two lines never actually touch one another. I'm going to indicate a little bit of the tongue back here, just a little curve. I think you can roughly follow along here for the edge of the face. Some people will bring this to a point. I'm going to keep mine a little curvy. I'm in a kind of a curvy mood today, people. I'm going to keep it curvy. And now it's time to maybe start doing just a few indications of the hair. I'll drop in the ear first. Ears for chibi characters are often quite low on the face. So I'm putting this one down here. The upper part touches that line. And so, of course, whichever thing you decide to do, you've got to make it consistent from one side to the other. And let's go ahead and quickly in time-lapse do a hairstyle. I really don't like the idea of telling everyone line by line to copy my exact hairstyle for my character, because, you might want to use this pose for a character of your own creation. But in this first part I'll do not in time-lapse. I'll do a line that floats just above that first circle to kind of show you how much volume the hair is going to have, what the proportion is to the rest of the face. But let's go ahead and I'm going to do the hair in time-lapse and come back and say a few things about it. Okay, so you can see I drew some ribbons here and gave it that sort of classic pigtailed look that I do on so many. I mean, everyone's going to like, Mark, it's always a girl, and she's always got pigtails. What is the obsession, man? I'm gonna have to come up with new ways of drawing these characters. Obviously, I have my preferences when it comes to chibi characters. But let's go ahead and do one last thing here. If you want to give your character these sort of blushies on the cheeks, they will come right around here, just a little bit below that line. And okay, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and move down and draw the rest of the body. Okay, so as I said before, this line is going to be for the waist, and it's at a slightly different angle than the rest of the head. Let's start with where this line intersects the bottom of the circle. I think that's a great place to have one of her toes touching. And so we're going to have that kind of curve up like this for one of the feet. And then the other foot is going to be poking out and kind of touching the circle right around here. I think it might be kind of cute to make her a little bit pigeon-toed. You often see this with manga characters. And then let's go ahead and do her skirt. It's always a skirt, Mark. Always pigtails. And always blushies. And always a skirt. Will you ever draw it another way? I probably should. Leave your suggestions in the comment box for the new styles I should be experimenting with. So let's go ahead and do the rest of the body up here. It starts right around that line of the waist, and it kind of curves up a little bit here towards the head. Notice that there's really no indication of a neck in this version of the drawing. I rarely see with chibi characters artists drawing the neck. But let's go ahead and give her one of those sailor suits. While I'm doing my usual thing, I might as well go all the way, man. We're just going to completely do the classic Mark Curley video today. And that'll be my way of preparing for the next video when I break free from the shackles of my earlier inclinations. So I'm doing one arm over here that's sort of against the, what do you call that, when you're sort of poking your elbow out and sort of put the fist in there? There's got to be a word for that. I never know the words for anything. But the other one, the other hand is going to be the challenge, because we're going to be trying to do a little bit of foreshortening with the peace sign that's coming out at us. So let's go ahead and finish off all of this. Got that in place, I think. I think we're in good shape. And now it's time to do the dreaded peace sign. Dreaded insofar as it's pretty hard to do. So I'm going to start by doing the thumb right where this line crosses that circle. That's where I'm going to drop in the thumb of this hand. It's kind of in two parts. This one part here is a little closer, and then as it comes to this edge of the circle, this is where the classic peace sign fingers are going to come up. And, you know, one of the challenges, because with a chibi character, you're not supposed to be doing the details of the fingers too much, right? Very often they just do like a ball, and that's supposed to be like over here. It's like that's the whole hand. But of course, if you want a peace sign, you do have to get a little bit into the details of things. So these like these sort of rabbit ear-like shapes can stay pretty simple, but I think we do need to get a little bit of detail in terms of these remaining fingers curving back and being held in place by that thumb, which is of course based on, you know, real human anatomy. It's hard to do a peace sign without having those fingers held in place by that thumb. And I'm going to put just one little indication of the folding of the flesh there. So once you've got that, I mean, it's sort of floating in space there, then it's time, I think, to get the rest of the arm behind it. And by breaking that into maybe two subsections, that gives us that feeling of the foreshortening that we're looking for. And let's pull back, because I think we're pretty much done, my friends. Okay, so we've got all the lines where we need them to be. It's time to do the final line work. I'm using my black Prismacolor, and I'll do this all in time-lapse and probably shoot straight into the shading part of the video. I know a lot of people are like, Mark, you always just zoom through the shading. I think I will have to do a, you know, how to shade a chibi drawing video in which I do that part, you know, not in time-lapse. But for today, to keep this one short, we're going to go ahead and zoom through the rest of the drawing. So let's get into it. All right, well, you can see I added Genki-yo over here, which is a Japanese phrase. Genki, a little hard to describe, sort of means full of energy, feeling great. Of course, all Japanese people want to be Genki, and people who love chibis are the Genkiest of all. Yeah, sorry I had to speed through all that in time-lapse. I really do one of these days have to do a video that focuses more on the shading. Of course, those of you who've been watching my videos for a long time are like, hey, Crilly, if I had a dime for every time you said you were going to do a shading video, and then you didn't do it, I'd be a very wealthy man by now. So, clearly, no one can believe me when I promise about future videos, but one of these days, I'm going to get to it. In the meantime, I want to thank anyone who has supported me by getting my graphic novels, Miki Falls, Brody's Ghost, this one available at Scholastic book fairs across the country, and finally, Mastering Manga. I'm hearing from people who have already got the paper, you know, hard copy edition of this book in the mail who had pre-ordered it, so it seems like it's coming out a little bit early, although the official date had been March 8th. Thanks so much to anyone who gets either the hard copy edition of that or the ebook, you know, for Kindle and iPad and so forth. I really do greatly appreciate your support. But let's go ahead and lay down the pencil. I want to thank you all for supporting me, for subscribing. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back with another one real soon.